Hey guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Keshi Dillon and I'm your host for this video. Today we are driving the GWM Ora 07, which was introduced to Malaysia back in April of this year. It's available in two variants. One is the Performance, which is self-explanatory, and one is this model, the Long Range, which again is self-explanatory as well. It's priced just a couple of ringgit under 170,000 ringgit, and it sits squarely in the crosshairs of the Tesla Model 3 as well as the BYD Seal. It's a rather nice car, there's no doubt about it. And for many years, actually for about 2 years, GWM Malaysia, Great Wall Motors Malaysia, only had the Good Cat in its product range, in its product portfolio for the Malaysian market. Now, the Good Cat was actually good enough for the Malaysian EV market back in 2022. And it's still quite a quirky car, a bit on the smallish side. And it seems to be quite popular as well, judging from the fact that we see it quite a bit on our roads here in Kuala Lumpur. I'm not sure about the other parts of Malaysia. Anyway, the 07 is a completely different car from the Good Cat. It runs on the same Lemon platform as the Good Cat as well, though it's much bigger in size in comparison to the Good Cat. As far as design is concerned, the 07 takes a lot of design cues from a lot of other car makers, particularly for this matter, Porsche. So if you look on the outside, you'll see a lot of Porsche design inspiration, particularly around the front, you know, the roundish headlamps, the way the back of the car just slopes that way. It's very Panamera-like in its design. I've been reading a lot of your comments online on other platforms, and I know a lot of you simply can't accept that Chinese car makers do a lot of, they use a lot of design elements from other car makers. But it's quite normal for Chinese car makers. If you take a look at the GWM Tank 300, the interior of that car is very much like a Mercedes-Benz G-Class. It's not just GWM, Chery does it as well. So I think Chinese car makers have a tendency of focusing on the tech of a car rather than the design. Now, if you remember the way the Koreans used to do it, the Koreans also used to focus a lot on the powertrain and then the tech, the safety parts of it. And then later, when their brands matured and the industry matured, only then did they start focusing on the design. I think the Chinese car makers are also taking that same route. Sooner or later, they will also start realizing that they have to offer original design elements. They're just not there yet. But as a car, the Ora 07, which Ora, by the way, stands for Open, Reliable, Alternative. Make of that what you may. But the Ora 07 is actually a very quirky car. When you take a look at it, when you first take a look at it, you're not sure whether you like it or not. But I suggest that you drive it, because once you do, it all starts coming together rather nicely. I mean, look at this. It's a very nice car to drive. There is no doubt about it. At its price range, yes, the competition is stiff. And I think GWM probably has the odds stacked against it, with formidable competition from BYD as well as Tesla. Even Smart is dropping its prices, like, just last week they dropped the prices by 20k for the hashtag 1, the non-Brabus editions actually. But that aside, this is a car that needs to be driven to be appreciated. Of course, the numbers are quite impressive as well. This is the long range version, so it's focused on giving you the best possible range. So as far as numbers go, it offers over 204 PS, 0 to 100 about 7.9 seconds, and it tops out at 170 kilometers per hour. But the numbers that matter for an EV are its range. So GWM has a tendency of quoting range figures from the NEDC cycle, whereas the WLTP cycle is said to be more accurate. So when we picked up this car last week, my colleagues actually drove it around, did their photo shoots, video shoots, whatever, and then passed it back to me when it was slightly at about the 85-88% range. And at that point, I had a total kilometer range in kilometers of about 550 kilometers. Right now, I'm at 79% state of charge, and I have a range of 500 kilometers. This is real world, yeah, guys. This is not one of those claimed figures and such. So 500 kilometers is actually quite decent, because even petrol engines will probably give you slightly less than that. I know my CX-5 gives me less than that. That's the 2.5 turbo though, so it's a guzzler. So at 79% state of charge, it's very impressive for 500 kilometers. No doubt about it. It also has 3 different regenerative brake settings, so you can always regenerate the brakes, use the brakes to regenerate the batteries as you go along. Besides that, it has 5 different driving modes. I'll tell you more about that later. But just the entire experience of driving the Ora 07 is actually really nice, because I understand that the BYD Seal, for example, might be a little bit small. So is the Tesla 3, the Model 3. I think in this price range, the Ora 07 is perhaps the only car that can sit your family very comfortably. Of course, you can argue that there is the BYD Atto 3 and such, but I'm talking from a pricing perspective. The Atto 3 is a small mid-size SUV, sorry, not small, mid-size SUV, and it's considerably cheaper as well. But this, once you step inside here, it just gives you a very different ambience, and I really like that. Loyalty programs are great, but don't you just hate it when you lose the card or you forget to bring it and then you end up losing out on all those points? Well, BH Petrol has an ingenious solution to it. Rather than coming up with a card, they have launched the BH Petrol e-card application, and it's available in both Android as well as for iPhones. What this does is you basically pour as you normally would, pick up the receipt and simply scan it. You get 1 point for every liter that you spend, and it has a lot of exciting products that you can actually trade your points in for. Right now, with BH Petrol's e-card loyalty program, I don't have to worry about losing my card or even losing out on my loyalty points, making BH Petrol's e-card loyalty program the right choice. A nice place to be. It's something very unique, I would say. Even though it has borrowed a lot of design elements from other car makers, but somehow GWM has made it look quite original and a very nice place to be. That is, if you have never taken a seat in a Bugatti, because if you have, you will notice that this thin center console over here, the way the buttons are laid out over here, are inspired by a Bugatti. But considering that a Bugatti will cost somewhere between a 20 to 30 million ringgit region, most people will probably never have sat in a Bugatti. But a Google image search will show you that. But again, as I said, not a bad thing. Everything is laid out quite clearly over here. Quality, which is very important, feels top notch. You get a 12.3-inch infotainment system over there, complete with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that is connected to a 11-speaker Infinity sound system. Sounds brilliant, I tell you. Then right ahead of you is a, again, Porsche-like instrument panel. one with a circular center with two mid circles flanking it. Very nice. The layout is superb. Everything feels top notch. Even the seats, well, if you take a look at the seats, they are something that I would refer to as semi-bucket, sports bucket seats. Very comfortable, and I really like, you know, that they are placed, the headrest is placed right above my head over here, and it's soft. It's superb. I have no complaints about the sitting position, about the fit, finish, and design of the interior. But, and this is a very big but, if you notice around the interior, you can see the air conditioning vents, but you really will be hard done to think that how do you adjust this, because even my skinny fingers can't fit in there. And this is very annoying, guys, because if you want to adjust the air conditioning vents, you have to go into the AC settings, and from here tap the screen to manually adjust it according to how you want it to be. But the thing is, this is fine, but the vents do not change as you are tapping this. So you have to change it, let it go, and only then the vent will electronically change its position, and only then you can tell that if it's blowing directly to your face or not. Now, it may not seem like a very big deal, but it's very annoying as when you're driving, especially when you're driving, you need to take your eyes off the road for a couple of seconds, and the menu just disappears, and then you have to restart everything again. So a bit of a bummer, this one. Besides that, you also get a huge panoramic roof, which I think I have to sit at the back to show you what I mean. Before I do that though, I also like the fact that there are some Mercedes-Benz design elements in here, particularly the ambient lights. Now this is beautiful at night, and it's taken inspiration from Mercedes because it works in conjunction with the blind spot monitoring system. So let's say at night there's a motorcyclist or a car that's coming from your right or your left. The entire right or left part of the car will start to flicker, indicating that there is something coming on the right. So it's not just the side view mirror that will start blinking, the entire right hand part over here. So it starts from here on top and over here. This part will start to blink and flicker as well, showing you, telling you that there is something coming from your right, and it does the same for the left as well. This is just brilliant at night. I thought that was very nice. The other cars that do that, I think, are the Mercedes-Benz EQE and EQS. I'm not quite sure about the EQB, but very cool. Now we go behind. So at the back here, it's again a nice place to be, but the seats, if you're a bit on the taller side like me, you see you have to like sit like that to really get comfortable, because the seats are actually quite low, they're quite close to the ground. So as far as sitting position go, yes, you can get comfortable, your leg space is decent, everything feels nice, and then you get again this Mercedes-Benz inspired air conditioning vents over here. Remember I was telling you about the Tank 300? This is how they look like in the Tank 300. So generally it's a nice place to be. I got no complaints. But now notice that this rear window is actually, it's just one gigantic piece. It starts from the front and then it just goes all the way back over here. And this is just a mega piece of glass over here, and with such big pieces of glass, it's, especially in our Malaysian weather, this is the ideal scenario for a glass house effect. It just gets really hot in here. Now regardless of whether you have hair or not, you are going to feel it. So unfortunately there's no solution to this as far as the cover goes. So the only way that you can actually reduce that glass house effect is to tint the entire thing, which is a bit sad. Looks great, works great if you live in a cooler climate country. In Malaysia though, where we are, this is just way too hot. So even though that glass might be a bit of a nuisance from the inside, but from the outside, I gotta say that it looks really cool. It looks really nice. It looks like one big chunk of endless glass over here, which it essentially is, but from the outside it looks really good. Inside, way too hot. Now this part over here is also something that has been inspired by Porsche, because this over here is a retractable spoiler that works with the aerodynamics of the car to either enhance the coefficient of drag, which is just 0.22, making the car very slippery as it cuts through the air. And this is also partially accomplished by the door handles that sit, when you lock it, it sits flush with the door to create a very slippery coefficient of drag, making it more efficient aerodynamically. Now at the back here, of course, you get a powered tailgate and a decent sized boot. Not very big, but good enough for about, I would say, just one golf bag placed sideways, or two with the back, with the rear seats collapsed. You unfortunately do not get a forward trunk, so you can open it, but there's no place for you to keep anything, which is a bit of a bummer. So at 169,800 ringgit, which is precisely the price of the Ora 07 long range, the car offers quite a bit. I would say I love it, but yet at the same time I find it difficult to come to terms with the overall design of the car. I think the performance variant sort of looks better with bigger wheels. These 18-inch wheels sort of just does not quite cut it for me. The performance wheels look really good. Those look like they've been molded and shaped, whereas these look very regular. As for the design of the car, I think it's either love it or hate it. Sometimes when I take a look at it, I like it, and at some angles it just makes me go like, whoa, why didn't I see that before? So I don't know, I'm still on the fence about the design of the Ora 07. In terms of capabilities, there's no doubt that it's quite decent. As I've already said earlier on in this video, the range of the car, the capabilities of the car are actually quite decent. Now, I don't have the WLTP range of this car, but the NEDC cycle, on the NEDC cycle, GWM quotes more than 600 kilometers. But from what I saw and experienced, I'm quite impressed, there's no doubt about it. The car also comes with vehicle to load capabilities. So if you're out here for a photo shoot, or you're out camping, or wherever, like if you're out on a road trip, the vehicle to load capability will let you charge up certain appliances, or even if you have a puncture, right? Because it doesn't come with a spare battery, spare tire. If you have a puncture, the vehicle to load capability will let you fix up the tire and inflate it again before you get on your way. So in that sense, the V2L capability is very decent. Now, speaking about batteries, the only thing that I think that quite can be stacked against the Ora 07 is the fact that it runs on NMC batteries, whereas a lot of its competitors, actually almost all of its competitors, are now running on lithium batteries. The thing about NMC batteries is that they have lower charge cycles as compared to lithium batteries. So I read that they're also not as environmentally friendly to produce as compared to lithium batteries. But on that note, I think GWM Malaysia also deserves credit, because if you buy the car, if you buy Ora 07, and in the event the load holding capability of the battery drops below 70% from the point that you buy it over 8 years, if it drops below 70%, GWM Malaysia will simply replace the battery 1-to-1. No questions asked. So that should mitigate a lot of your concerns about the battery and its ability to hold charge over the next couple of years. So GWM Ora 07 long range. Impressive, nice car to drive, very comfortable, perhaps even spacious enough for your family. I think its range is very decent as well. Design, well, love it or hate it. Design is always subjective. As I said, I'm still on the fence about it. I just do not have anything bad to say about the Ora 07 besides its very subjective design. Let me know what you think about the Ora 07 in the comment section below, and if you would pick this over its competitors, because as far as size is concerned, it's bigger than all of its competitors. It's also very comfortable, there's no doubt about it. Driving it is actually quite a decent experience as well. So let me know what you think about the Ora 07 long range in the comment section below. As usual, thank you for watching, and do consider subscribing.